Oh, look at this, Marquita. Real quick. Is my music too loud, by the way?
It's not for me.
Okay, cool.
It says we're live on Facebook.
Let me turn that down.
Okay.
I want to see something. Are we live, sis?
Yes, we are live.
Awesome. I cannot see us.
Oh.
Let me get us. Let me get back to you. There you are. There we go. I just want you to see. Best thing since sliced bread. You need to.
I feel like you're kind of rubbing it in right now. Like, really?
I am.
No, I can't find one, and then you just conveniently show me yours.
Honestly, I
That's
would.
how we're doing it. That's how we're doing it this morning. Happy Saturday.
I would tell you, hater day. No, put it in the search. Actually, I've been looking for you as well.
All right, I guess so.
I asked Alan, I said, can you turn that on? Because it's nice enough that I really don't need it, but I didn't want to be going back and forth with the jacket because I remember that episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, but it
You were hot, right?
hot, it's cold. Now I'm feeling a little perfect right now. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning, Miss Marquita? Once
Excellent.
again,
I'm doing
great.
excellent.
Great. I hope everybody out in Facebook world is doing well. Everybody getting ready for Thanksgiving next weekend. Can you believe we're already here? It's already here.
I cannot. It's a happy and a sad thing, right? It's been Groundhog's Day every day for the last 6 months, but
Yeah.
yeah, at the same time, I mean, this is the time of year that we love to celebrate and be with family, but we can't be with family. But I'm happy it's here because that means hopefully this year is just coming to an end.
And with the announcement of the potentially new releases of this what is it, the vaccine, hopefully that's going to help kind of, and with the new administration, hopefully we can get some stuff in place that we're not gonna go there, but yeah, so we can start off 2021 with a better, brighter outlook. So you're right, that's almost beyond us. Yeah, so I mean, what is it, what are we calling it now this year? Zoom giving, Zoom
Oh, is that what it's called? Oh, I don't know.
yeah, Zoom
Yeah,
giving. So we're doing
absolutely will not be doing that. I could see the camera being upside down. I don't know. Yeah.
I love
That
Sherelle's post, a friend of ours, who noted, she said, trying to figure out what to wear downstairs or in the dining room to,
oh, for Thanksgiving, or either decide if I'm going to attend at all, right?
exactly. And I'm thinking, okay, would do my hair differently, or am I going to wear sweats, or am I going to dress up? Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. Well, anyway, this morning I wanted us to continue the conversation. Last week, Gabrielle Ricks had asked about purchasing a home with a student loan. So, the question is, can I buy a house or get a mortgage if I have a student loan? Can you talk to us about that?
So that absolutely you can. But I will say, as a side note, that I feel like student loans have become just the debt of the century. It's almost like, and this is going to be a personal rant, but I see it every day. It's almost like the new scam or scheme, right? You
Yeah.
have someone that goes to college to get an education, and I'm going to do a random number, maybe it's $60,000. They deferred the loans for a couple years. Now they owe $70,000.
Right.
So it's like, they're negative amortizing. I've seen amounts that are just ungodly for the amount of salary that someone actually is bringing on to obtain these professional degrees. So I hope that there is an overhaul or something with our system, because people are literally going to die with these student loans. And it happens to be a debt that cannot be written off in bankruptcy. So there's really no way around it. You have people that can do federal service for a length of time and hopefully have those loans forgiven based on that. But we're going to have to come up with a better plan, because it was almost like we got bamboozled, right? Go to school, get an education, get a great job,
So you can pay back.
or paying ungodly amounts and entering in the workforce at entry level positions. So it's just not adding up. But that anyway, so that was my sidebar. I digress. You asked, can someone get a home loan with student loans or a student loan? Absolutely, they can. The biggest challenge is,
What are the qualifications, or
I'd
how do
say
they
the
qualify?
biggest challenge is that, we have some very specific, three specific loan types that we seem to work with most in the market are conventional loans, FHA loans, and veteran loans. So those are the most common three. And each one actually has a different way that you would qualify someone, with the student loan. So that's what makes it tricky. So absolutely someone can get a home loan, a home or a mortgage with a student loan, but you have to count the debt in the qualification. So I would give you an example, for instance, on a FHA loan, which is very popular. So I'll use that as my staple. You have to count and brace yourself. I mean, you literally have to count 1% of the outstanding balance in that calculation of debt to income. So 1% or the fully amortized payment. So with student loans, people are able to apply for income-based repayment. And I always say be careful with that, because what I said at the beginning, you're deferring interest and it's a negative amortization, just going to be paying. I mean, some people actually have a zero income-based repayment plan. But with one of our most popular loans that people use, whether first-time buyers or move-up buyers, you have to count 1% of the actual outstanding balance or the fully amortized payment. So you're not getting a break there. So just imagine if someone has $100,000 in student loans,
Dollars.
which is very real. 100,000 is very real.
It is
When
very.
it costs, it could easily cost $20,000 a semester, then that's $1,000 right away that's being taken away from disposable income that could be used for qualifying for a mortgage.
So you're
Okay.
saying that they're going to look at that 1%. So what if a person has established payments and the lender can see that, okay, that they're not actually paying 1%, monthly, and they have established consistent payments, no deferment, no late. Are they still going to calculate 1%, or are they going to use the actual payment amount? For example, let's say they pay $300 a month on that $100,000 balance, just hypothetically.
So for FHA, they are going to use that payment amount if that is the payment that will fully amortize the loan. So it has to be the fully amortized payment that they're actually using, which you would show the paperwork that they're going to make this $300 payment for this amount of years to pay it off. So it has to be the fully amortized payment. It cannot be income-based repayment or a graduated payment or any type of deferred payment. So as long as it's fully
Fannie. That has
amortized, then we
nothing to
would
do,
use that
Fannie
payment.
Freddie. That has nothing to do with the individual lenders and what their guidelines. This is what the
This
federal
is universal for the loan type. Whether you're talking to the Queen of Mortgages, whether you're talking to Joe over at Joe's Mortgage, this is
guidelines.
universal for the loan type, which is brings me into the next thought process with student loans. So that's how FHA is counted, which, like I said, is the most harsh. And I wanted to bring that up because a great deal of people do use that loan type. Now, with conventional loans, there at least is some breathing room,
Okay.
which goes back to using conventional loans. And we talk about this. Credit is king, guys. Credit is queen. Credit is everything. You need higher scores for approval for conventional loans in many cases, especially right now. So you need higher credit scores. So make sure you're working on your credit score if you're someone that has student loans, because conventional loans will allow for an income-based repayment plan to be counted in the debt to income ratio, even if that payment is zero. Okay. So as long as you have the income-based repayment plan and it will be in place for 12 months from the time you purchase, then you can use the zero payment or the income-based repayment plan. So very important to get those scores in that range where you can do a conventional loan. Conventional loans do start at lower scores, but to be honest, I see more favorable terms for people at 680 credit score or higher. And that's just my personal experience of being in the daily grind of reviewing credit and pre-approving people on a daily basis. So for conventional loans, you can use the income-based repayment plan. If that's not in place and the loans are actually deferred, with the right loan type on conventional, you can count 0.5%. So at least that's better. That same $100,000 outstanding balance would be 500 against your debt to income ratio versus 1,000.
What if I'm a veteran? What if I'm a veteran and I didn't use my GI, or I did take out some student loan debt prior to or whatever? How does that apply? I mean, are there any different qualifications or guidelines there that I could consider or be mindful of?
Well, nice setups. Since you know that we, work with veterans, quite often. There is a different calculation for veterans, which seems to me, if I had to look at them, I would say that FHA is the most harsh. Uh, conventional is most forgiving because they will take the income repayment plan, and I would say the VA loan is kind of right in the middle, moderate on how they're actually going to calculate those payments. If a loan is in true deferral, then you cannot count a payment if it's going to be deferred for at least 12 months for the time of purchase. So let's just say someone is still in school and they have deferral until 2022 and they're buying in 2021, then you don't have to count a payment against them. However, if it's not deferred, then they have a very specific calculation, which I was just saying it's 5% of the outstanding balance divided by 12, which is
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty good, actually, as far as being moderate in how you're going to count that debt against the veteran. So it really based on the loan type. It really is based on your overall scenario. But I can say the greater the amount of student loans, then the more that we have to count that in our calculations. So in some cases, yes, you can buy, but it may be affecting buying power overall.
So you talking about the deferrals. No, right now, the government has, because of the COVID, that they've kind of put a pause on student loans until I think it runs out in December, next month, actually. So does that come into play?
Absolutely not. Like we would not count a deferred payment that the government has sanctioned because of COVID. We
So they
have to
kind of put
either
a
do
hold on
one of
everything.
those three. We would do one of those three calculations. If FHA, we could use 1%. If it was conventional and it's actually deferred, we could use the 0.5%. And then if it's VA, we're going to use 5% divided by 12. So it's going to be a whole calculation. A payment will have to get counted. And it's a catch 22 with that, Jay, because at the end of the day, you do not want to actually qualify someone with student loans that are not being paid because at some point you are going to have to pay. So if you buy at the top of your buying limit and not actually count a monthly payment, when those payments kick in, we might put you back into a situation where you're house rich and cash poor. It says, what if you are co-signer only? How does that actually play out? If you're a co-signer on the student loans, then we need to be able to show that the other person has made 12 months of payments from their own account to actually not count those payments. And again, we're going to have to look at that, Amy, specifically by loan type, but that is a very good question. But
Not
you have to be able to prove that the person who you co-sign for is actually making those payments. And a lot of time that's where it gets murky or it starts to be a gray line, a thin line, because maybe you co-signed and they're giving you the money and you're paying it out of your account. It needs to come from that other person's account and you need to be able to prove it for at least 12 months.
And that's key. Okay, I got another question for you. So what if I just graduated, right? I just graduated, and I was able to seek employment. How long? I mean, let me see. How do I got to? I had this question all set up for me. So I
Okay.
just graduated. How long do I need to be employed, or can a lender use my years in college, as long as there was no break, to also work in my favor for qualifying for a loan? Do you know where I'm going with this question?
Absolutely, absolutely. And once again, every answer is dependent on actual loan type. But for the most part, college experience can be used for someone newly entering the job market. And at this time, it's just all about stability. Like, would we want to do a loan for someone who went to school for 4 years for engineering and now have been on the job for 1 month as an engineer? No, we're gonna probably need to see them on that job for at least 6 months and understand that it is actual stable income. So, college education can be used. Now, if you go to school for nursing and then you go into a job and you're doing IT, then absolutely we're going to see that you've been on a job for a period of time because you really don't have that experience or you don't have that college degree that you were using towards that same actual field. So college experience can be counted as long as there's continuity into the actual field and it's not, hey, I was doing art and now I'm a doctor.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense. It totally makes sense because now you kind of deviated from where the career, the path
Exactly. So
on.
now we want to see, stability, with that income. And that really is the word. And I think COVID has added an extra layer of that as far as underwriter discretion on how long we want to actually see someone there. So I would use 6 months as your benchmark.
Okay, good. I was going to say, so is okay. One last question, unless you see anything else out there from folks. Are there down payment assistance programs available to someone who does have a student loan?
Absolutely. I mean, one doesn't stop you from having the other, taking advantage of the other. The challenge is how much money do you qualify to buy with said student loan? And that's why you have to have a conversation with, a loan professional to figure out your specific scenario. But no, it would not exclude them from being able to use a down payment assistance program, but it'll just be what is your buying power in reference to getting that down payment assistance.
So it would behoove an individual that has a student loan that is in the market or wants to jump into the market of purchasing a home to get the pre-qualification up front so they know exactly where they are, because you guys are going to look at all the different scenarios. And just because a person qualifies for $300,000 doesn't mean necessarily that with their student loan payment, even if it's pushed out for a future time or whatever, and other debts, that they can make those payments.
I mean, exactly. And at that point, I would just call it a buying plan, or actually, yes, a pre-qual. We might not necessarily take on income docs at that time, but we have a future plan of what we think we can buy, because it's one thing to, like you said, to be able to make a payment at 300,000, but it's another thing to be able to qualify on paper to secure that loan, even though you might be doing it the entire time. I mean, I'll give you a quick story, and then we can wrap it up if there's no more questions. Amy says her hair stylist is learning so much from this live. Excellent. Thank you for tuning in. That's the whole goal, is to help people make an informed decision
Absolutely.
purchasing a home, but also giving some of the inside stuff that I don't think is talked about, and maybe should be addressed. So I had a couple that fairly good income for the most part, paying close to $2,500 a month, which we absolutely know is a mortgage payment. However, when we did the calculations and added in almost 300,000 in student loan debt for the household, on paper they qualify for 7,550,000, 75,000. It was like, depending on how we, used it, if we went conventional. So I was like, clearly you can buy, but it's going to be in um, East Egypt, North Carolina, if that's even a place, right? And the conversation didn't go well. Obviously, they were disappointed, and I felt like I had to be the bearer of bad news. But based on the loan tap they had and where they were, $300,000 in student loan debt—that's a $3,000 payment for the loan type that they want. I mean, that's disposable debt, income that can't be used. And of course, unfortunately, it is on paper, but it kind of is what it is.
Exactly. That's terrible. So in wrapping up, can you just run it down very briefly? I know this is just the basics. What does one need to have prepared or have ready to share with the lender in seeking a loan? What do they need to qualify? Student loan,
To,
no
to
student.
do a pre-approval, I mean, you don't need the student loan paperwork unless you have the income-based repayment plan to prove it, because the student loans are going to be pulled up on credit. So permission to pull credit, accurate yearly income, and that's before taxes. That is the baseline amount just to get started with the actual buying plan. And then the other part for that would be to verify that said income with W-2s or 1099s or tax returns if you're self-employed, pay stubs if you have those, and then of course bank statements, and then any paperwork you have in response to having an income-based repayment plan.
Got it. Got it. So guys, you heard it from our wonderful Queen of Mortgages over here. You can buy a home even if you have a student loan. There are some little sidebars here, but certainly feel free to reach out to her. Um, Drop a message here or personally message her. She can answer your questions. Certainly, I'm here, and we'll definitely connect you with our Queen of Mortgages. Thank you once again for an insightful information filled Saturday morning. Like you said, sometimes it's not always easy to give the truth, but that's what we're here for, to give you the facts. May not necessarily be popular. In the case of the folks with the $300,000 student loan, household student loan debt, of those, I guess, that were securing the mortgage. It's not always easy, but I like to say, look, I'm here to tell you what the facts, the truth, not what you want to hear, because what you want to hear isn't necessarily going to get you what you want. So,
What you need.
um,
And in closing, you're right. It's not going to get you where you need to be, right? From point A to point B.
that's it. So you
Yep.
guys, thank you all once again for tuning in, watching us. Please share it. Absolutely, we're here to be a resource for you. Um, again, Queen of Mortgages, Jennifer Dorn, your agent for the people. Feel free to hit us up. You will certainly Google us, my number, phone, websites, and check us out next week. If you have a specific topic or lender mortgage question or what have you, real estate related, please send us a message. We'd love to address it. Give us some, we want to make sure that we're giving you the information that's relevant and important to you. So thanks again. I wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving, Zoom's giving, or whatever you're celebrating. But more importantly, guys, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, stay home. The numbers are rising. Shout out to all of our first responders, to include our nurses and doctors. Those guys are put right back in the hot seat again. Not that they ever really left. However, it's been turned up again. So let's be mindful, please, guys. This thing is real out here. People are dying. Numbers are going up. So let's stay safe so we can go into 2021, with a totally different lifestyle, going back to some semblance of normalcy. That's all I got for you.
All right. Sounds
All
great.
right.
Have a good
Peace. Have a
weekend.
blessed weekend. I'll holler at you guys. And once again, happy birthday to Devin the Dude.
Yeah, Devin the dude.
That's
He's
it.
been celebrating so long, I almost forgot the actual day was Friday. So we're going to top it off with Top Golf, and you'll
Wow.
probably see him with his birthday gift at some point on Facebook. I don't
I
even
can't
watch
wait. I can't wait. We'll be looking forward to it. Or tell them Zoom past my house with it.
it. All right, we'll do.
All right. Looking forward to hitting the streets.
Okay.
All right, y'all. I have a good one. Happy Saturday. Thanks. Bye.